welcome back to The Spread, Nesson.com football picks video podcast. What podcast? Show? I don't really know.
Video podcast.
All of the above. Three guys standing around, sitting around talking about football. We came to you last week with our NFL season preview. Now we get into the fun stuff. We're going to make our weekly picks. We'll get into the rundown or whatever as we go, how we're going to lay this out. Basically, we're going to start with four of the biggest games of the week, get some locks, some upsets. Then we'll have a little fun with a little show and tell, which we debuted last week. A couple bold predictions before we get out of here. Gonna be quick, gonna be to the point. Hopefully, probably not. We'd like to talk. Yeah. So let's start. By the way, I should probably do some introductions. I'm Mike Cole. That's Ricky Doyle. That's Andre Khatchaturian. We all work at Nesson.com, which is why we're on the Nesson.com football thing. So let's get into it. Four biggest games of the weekend. We'll start on Thursday night. I think this is the first Super Bowl rematch in something like 20 years, or maybe more than that. Carolina heads to Denver. Panthers 3-point favorites. Ricky, let's start with you. Who do you like in this game? Why? Just give us a little rundown.
Yeah, I'm going to take Carolina, and I'm a little hesitant to do it simply because it's tough to pick the road team as the favorite especially going into Denver, of all
right.
places.
Yep.
So that concerns me a little bit, but I just can't get over that quarterback situation in Denver. I'm going to need to see a sliver of something in the regular season, a meaningful game, before I really put any eggs in that basket.
Yeah.
So I like Carolina. I'm a little concerned about the Denver defense. I think they might take a little bit of a step back this year. I mean, that's of course relative to what they pulled off last year down the stretch. But I just think that there's certain things working against them that Carolina's going and kind of flex their muscle in week one against a good opponent.
Makes sense. Andre, what about you?
No, I gotta agree with you, Ricky. I like Carolina -3. And last year you talked about how good Denver's defense was last year and how they're not going to be as good this year. Both of these teams last year they allowed the fewest yards per pass attempt. Well, again, the difference this year is now Denver lost a bunch of pieces defensively. Danny Trevathan and Lee Jackson, big pieces.
Yeah.
So I think the pass defense isn't going to be as good, and you have Carolina. With Cam Newton and Kelvin Benjamin back. I like Carolina to win this one. I don't think it'll be a blowout, but I think they'll definitely cover the 3 points.
Yeah, make it a three-peat. It's weird taking, especially with the altitude. Carolina not necessarily used to that. They don't go out to Denver hardly ever, so that could play a role. I think Carolina, but I think both teams start slow. Maybe kind of hammer the first half under. I like the under for the game as well, 41.5 points. I wouldn't touch this game if I was betting on it because of 3 points. If it was 2.5 or 3.5, one way or another, maybe I look at it. But if I had to make a pick, I'm going to take Carolina to win by, 6 points maybe in a low-scoring game. So again, that defense is legit, and it comes down to the quarterbacks for me. And I'm going to take Cam Newton over Simeon, I guess, even understanding what Denver did to Carolina's offense.
I really like that hammering the first half spread. That's interesting.
Let's get into our next game. Oakland at the New Orleans Saints. This one is listed right now, and again, we're taking all of our odds in our lines from oddshark.com. Make sure you check them out for all of your gambling or picking information. Their database is fantastic, and I'm sure we'll reach into it at some point today. But they've got this listed pretty much across the board as a pick'em, which is again, it has changed. I think it opened, if I'm not mistaken, I can double check on this. I think it opened with New Orleans actually giving points. Let me just double check this real quick. Yeah, it opened. New Orleans opened a 1.5 point favorite. Now it's down to pick 'em, which makes sense. At least that's the way I'm leaning. But Andre, let's start with you this time.
This is a clear example of people looking at the names of these two teams. Oakland Raiders, they just think, okay, a team that sucks. New Orleans Saints, a team that's really good.
Yeah.
But look at the rosters. I mean, the Saints. They last year they allowed 6.6 yards per play, worse than the league. Their defense. The Raiders have improved so much defensively, adding Bruce Irvin, Reggie Nelson, Sean Smith, Derek Carr as weapons. I like Amari Cooper to be that breakout receiver this season, and I like Week 1 for him to start out, breaking out, dominating. And I think the Raiders are going to win this one. It's going to be a blowout. Even though they're on the road in the Dome, I don't think that matters at all.
Well, you know my stance on Derek Carr in the preview edition.
Yeah, absolutely.
The archives, he was my long shot MVP.
His MVP season starts Week 1.
So I gotta jump on that early and often, right? I like the Raiders too. I think New Orleans defense will be better this year just by virtue of
Can't get any worse.
one, it just can't getting rid of Rob Ryan is inherently going to be better. Getting rid of a guy like Brandon Browner is inherently going to be better. So
But they haven't made any additions.
I know. I'm just saying, inevitably by addition by subtraction, really, is the way it boils down to it.
Won't be against the Raiders.
But I do like the Raiders in this. Really, just and it does stem a lot from concerns about that same defense. They might be better, but I still think they're going to stink. The Raiders got a good offense. You mentioned all the weapons that they have. Derek Carr. I
They're
think you might
stacked
take
on
another
defense,
step.
too.
Stacked on defense, yeah. I mean, a lot of good additions. They're second pick this year. Like the start, good on it.
Yep. Again, I'm with you guys on this one. I think the defensive thing is a big point to look at. It's never easy going into New Orleans, especially early in the season. That team doesn't suck yet, at least on in terms of the standings. So it's there's renewed hope or whatever. But I look in New Orleans and it's just you look at these rosters and who's the better team, and I think it's clearly Oakland. Uh, you know, week one I think they come out looking to make a statement. A lot of people high on this team. It's just one of those things where everything points to the Raiders, which means New Orleans probably will win, but. I can see why we would all be in favor of the Raiders here. Moving on, this is I think it's a late Sunday game. And of course we have to start the season with an NFC East matchup that the entire country gets to watch, and
Thank the Lord.
we're ready to poke their own eyeballs out by the end of the day. But the Giants are going to Dallas to take on Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. This is currently listed as a pick'em, which is another kind of perplexing one for me, at least. Ricky, who do you like in this?
I like the Giants. This is, I mean, we talked about this last week. That division is kind of all muddled now, especially when you factor in Tony Romo injury.
Yep.
I think, I think it was me and you that both like the Giants coming out of that division.
Yeah.
I just think the Giants' defense could be pretty good. I think, some good additions there. Olivier Vernon, Damon Harrison. I think he might be better this year, kind of coming out of the division.
Club him.
Yeah. He's got a full season.
He's got a year under his
Exactly.
under his belt.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna go there, but so I think
Maybe he gets some explosiveness back.
Yeah, exactly. I think they could cause some problems in the early going. I know Dallas has a good offensive line, but you do have to factor in you got a rookie quarterback you're dealing with. So I think they could cause some trouble at least in terms of week one, and the fact that it's picked them, so it's not going to be persuaded either way. Obviously, with regards to the points. So I like the Giants.
Said everything I wanted to say, but let me just add this: the Cowboys had the worst turnover differential last year. That's usually turnover differential is usually a good indicator of regular season success and winning games. Obviously, if you force more turnovers, there's a better chance you might win the game. Cowboys were not good at that at all. And the front seven's pretty weak. They've got a lot of guys who have suspensions. Randy Gregory's out for 4 games. Rolando McClain's out for 10 games. So their front seven's really, really bad. So I don't see them forcing any big turnovers or making big defensive stops.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm with you. The 2 points I really like are the fact that I don't see Dallas putting a lot of pressure on Eli Manning. If you're not putting pressure on Eli Manning, he's going to sit back there and find a way to pick you apart. Get the ball to Odell Beckham, get the ball to the outside. And again, I'm not in love with that Dallas defense at all. And again, you're a quarterback making his first start in the NFL. Sure, Dak Prescott looked good in the preseason, but that's against 2s and 3s in a lot of cases, and that's without a full week of game. It's just things are so much different in the regular season. So I as well like the Giants. Moving to our fourth marquee matchup of the week and our final one, Sunday night. This is a real interesting one. New England Patriots, they're going to go to the desert, take on Arizona. The Cardinals currently listed as 6-point favorites. That line obviously moved after the suspension of Tom Brady became official. Andre, what are your takes on this one?
6 points against Bill Belichick, coach team that has had all summer to prepare for this game. It's just unbelievably too much. I don't know if they win the game, but 6 points, they'll definitely cover that spread. Belichick has had so much time to prepare. I think there's a stat since 2004, opening games, Patriots have only lost 1 time since 2004. It just goes to show how good Belichick is in terms of preparation. So I'll take the Patriots plus 6, but I think the Cardinals will win the game.
Yeah, it's a crazy world you live in when you look at it. Look at the spread and the Patriots are 6-point underdog. It's so weird to wrap your head around. And that's why I like New England, and this is coming from somebody who's extremely high on Arizona going into this season, on both sides of the ball. But yeah, it all boils down to that. A Belichick coach team, opening weekend, 6-point underdogs. I'll take the points in this situation. Like you said, Are they going to win the game? I don't know. But I could also see a situation where, at the end of the game, that they're walking off the field and we're talking about how great of a coach Belichick is because he pulled one out of his butt in week one with Garoppolo at the helm. So, yeah, I like Patriots. Taking the points. If you're going to give me points with the Pats, I think.
This opened at the Patriots giving a point, so it's a 7-point swing when it's all said and done.
Probably before this.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying all I'm pointing out is that Tom Brady is worth 7 points.
It's pretty
But
amazing.
I also
Yeah.
think this Patriots defense is going to be really good. So,
Yeah, and
that
Arizona.
closes the gap a little bit more.
If you put stock into the preseason, Arizona wasn't great. I'm with you guys again. A clean, real way to get out of the chutes.
Yeah, we
4
really
for 4.
enjoyed it so
Yeah,
much.
exactly.
Well, great minds.
So very good.
But
Let's move on.
no, I had a point to add, and I forget what the point is. Oh, I could actually see Arizona winning this game by 2 or 3 touchdowns. I really
So
could.
you're going Arizona -6?
No, I'm still taking New England. I think it's either one or the other. I don't think New England wins this game close, and I don't think New England blows them out. I guess what I'm saying is I'm taking Arizona to win this game no matter what. I do think it'll tend to be closer, but I think it's also one where you look at Jimmy Garoppolo hadn't played extremely well in the preseason. It could get away from them early. I mean, we saw it. Look at that. I as a Packers fan, I look at that week 16 or 17 game in Arizona last year, where Arizona just ran all over the Packers. They're a team that when they start feeling it, and they're chucking the ball downfield, they can make things ugly in a hurry. But again, is Bill Belichick going to let David Johnson beat him with a full offseason to the game plan? So I do think gun to my head, I'm thinking this is a close game, but Arizona wins it late. So those are our 4 biggest games of the week. Let's get into a lock and an upset.
Subjective, of course.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Your
could.
big 4 might be different than ours.
Yeah, if you like the Minnesota-Tennessee game, God bless you.
That's your speed.
Let's start with Andre. Give us a lock and an upset.
All right, my lock: Kansas City -7 over San Diego. The Chargers are just atrocious,
Right.
defensively especially. And Alex Smith isn't the type of guy who's going to turn the ball over ever. You can say what you want about him; he doesn't throw interceptions. I know the Chiefs are missing Justin Houston, but I still like their defense to slow down Phillip Rivers. I like Rivers as a quarterback. I think he's great. Nothing against him, but he just doesn't have much surrounding him this year. And I'll take the Chiefs -7. And my upset, I'm going to take Buffalo +3 over the Baltimore Ravens. I don't understand why the Ravens are favored in this game. They're just
Because they're not Buffalo.
yeah, but again, speaking of guys who don't throw interceptions, Tyrod Taylor's another one of those guys who turned the ball over. 1.6 interception percentage last year. He's 5th best in the league. 8 yards per attempt, 5th best in the league. Tyrod Taylor, he's not bad. People underestimate him all the
It's kind
time.
of an assumption that Baltimore is going to be right back in the mix this year.
Exactly.
Everybody
Yeah.
kind of looks
Why?
at it because I guess they did have all those injuries, but I just look at them as kind of like a aging roster.
Exactly. Yes.
On and down.
They're old.
Yeah.
They're really good at home though. I think that's.
Yeah, but you have Joe Flacco, big arm, and you have 2 really good corners for the Bills with Gilmore and Darby covering their deep threats. So
You talk about a team though that might not generate a pass rush. That Bills defense a little bit banged up. I'm just saying. I'm just playing a little bit of devil's
Are the
advocate.
Ravens going to put a pass rush?
No, probably not. It's a good pick. I like it.
Bills +3.
All right.
All right, Mike.
All right. I'll for my lock, I'm taking Cincinnati over New York. This one seems too obvious to the point where it's giving me a little bit of concern. The Bengals are 2.5-point road favorites against the Jets. I look at that Jets offense, and I'm not exactly sure where they're going to get points, especially against a pretty good Cincinnati defense. I look at Ryan Fitzpatrick, a guy who had a short offseason, the holdout and all of that, comes in. I don't know what you're going to get out of him. Brandon Marshall, a guy who was kind of banged up toward the end of the preseason, got a hip injury. Although I do have a little concern on the Bengals side of the ball. Adrian Green is kind of dinged up. They're going to be without Tyler Eifert again. Pac-Man Jones a little dinged up as well. But again, if this was a 3.5-point spread, maybe I'd feel a little bit worse about it. But hey,
Can I interject?
what's that?
Can I interject?
I'm just saying.
Listen,
I like
I don't
Bengals.
understand the love for the Bengals. I know I picked them to make the playoffs. Actually, I want to change that Bengals playoff pick.
Oh,
Is it
you
too
know
late
what?
to do that? It's not too late. Season hasn't started.
Then we're going back into the hood.
No. I think the Jets will get that wild card spot instead of the Bengals.
Okay.
And I think they will beat the Bengals in this game. Reggie Nelson's gone. He had 8 picks last year for the Bengals. I don't understand all this love for the Bengals. Oh, we see the same thing happen to them every year. They're not a good team. They get lucky. I don't understand how they win 10 games every year.
Yeah,
Good
exactly.
Regular season. You just
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know how they do it. Eventually, it's
No,
going
yeah.
to regress to the mean.
I mean,
We see this every year.
Yeah.
They win 10 games and they get in the playoffs.
yeah, but how is it going to happen
This isn't
again?
January. We're
It's not
gonna
going to
get
happen
picked
again.
now.
I'm sick of it happening.
It's for me. I get what you're saying, but the 2.5 points is the biggest thing for me. If you're giving me a chance to win this game late, granted, Andy Dalton's not the best guy to put stock in late in the game, but I just think that I look at the Jets and I just don't see where the offense comes from. I'm sorry.
Matt Forte?
Oh, cool. He's like, how old is he? 64
Brandon
years
Marshall?
old? Again, Brandon Marshall dealing with a hip thing. You don't know.
Tyler Eifert's dealing with an injury.
Yeah, Eifert's gone. He's not playing.
He's not playing.
Fine. But I still
Yep.
think that top to bottom, Cincinnati has a better team.
Bengals lost two
2.5
receivers over the
points
offseason.
is not enough to dissuade me.
Marvin Lewis
Including
is
your
gone.
boy.
Muhammad
Marvin Lewis
Miguel
is still
Sano's
there.
gone. And Hugh Jackson's gone too.
I don't care.
Jets in a blowout.
Oh my God! Jets have scoring defense are going to win this game. I'm making the Bengals lock it up as my upset. This one, another one. It seems a little too obvious. Although I guess I'm a little higher on this team than a lot of people. I'm taking the Tennessee Titans. Not only to cover, I think they win outright at home against Minnesota. Let me just double check here. That's a 2-point spread. Titans are getting 2 points at home. I think they're a much better team this year. I'm not crazy about Mike Mularkey. He stinks, kind of. But I like what they did in the draft. I like their two-headed rushing attack with DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry. Marcus Mariota looked good last year. I think he gets better this year. And I don't know who the hell's playing quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. So you add it all up, and you're giving me points at home against a team that could be starting Sean Hill at quarterback. I'm taking the Titans and not even
I
thinking
like
twice
that
about it. So those are my locks and upsets. What about you, Ricky?
That's good. For my lock, I'm going to go with Indianapolis over Detroit. Indianapolis is 3.5-point favorites at home. A lot of this has to do with my expected ineptitude for the Lions on a consistent basis year to year. But also, I think this is kind of a show-me game for Andrew Luck to start the season off on the right foot after it was just a complete cluster last season for everything that happened in Indy. And just the fact they're at home, I like that a
I
lot.
feel you might not have looked at the injury report.
Why is that?
I'm just saying. This again, we're just playing devil's advocate
Yeah,
here.
no.
Vontae Davis out. Clayton Geathers out. Dwayne Allen out. Well, actually, no. Dwayne Allen's playing.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hugh Thornton, offensive lineman, out. Kendall Langford up in the air.
Dante Moncrief, though, in.
That's what I mean.
That's all that matters for Ricky.
Going up against
He's
that
going to lead the
secondary.
league in rushing receiving
It's
yards.
all about Andrew Luck being back in the mix, having weapons around him, taking advantage of that secondary.
Not a whole lot of points either.
It's 3.5.
Yeah, no, I'm
And
with it. Yeah.
At home, I mean, it's still a tough place to play, even if
Yeah.
Indy's the
for
pick.
whatever
I
it
feel
is
like
they
the
are
Colts
rolling
are
out
the type of
there.
team
So
Beats
I
up
don't know.
on bad teams.
Yeah, that's true. Especially at home.
Yeah, exactly. That's really the
Detroit.
the forte.
Yeah.
Detroit. Really? Detroit.
And that's another thing. It's Detroit. No, I'll probably take 8 locks this year with the team over there.
That's true. Good point.
That's just my stance on that. Upset, I like Tampa Bay over Atlanta. Atlanta's 3-point favorites at home.
Love it.
I think that line has already shifted. If it hasn't, I feel like it's going to. But go on. Sorry.
But yeah, no, that's just a divisional game. I could see that being a shootout. I like the Falcons' offense. I think they have some weapons there, but they're another team that it's kind of tough to figure out who's going to show up week to week. I think Jameis Winston has the ability to pull off some magic in that one.
That's
And just Atlanta's defense, they always scare me. They just have so much turnover year to year. I don't know.
still sitting at 3.
I
So that's
just
a good pick.
they're one of the teams that I need to see something out of the gate to show me that you're going to be a factor.
I
I
love
like the
that.
Bucks. I like
That-
them.
I love them to win the division. So
That might be a nice wager to make. So
And I do. There are a few upset picks that I'm looking at that I like a lot. Opening weekend's always.
you never know. It's a tough. I think it's the toughest week to pick. Obviously,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
no trends, no stats to go off of,
Yeah.
no tendencies. But so those are our upsets and our locks. Let's get into our props, which is a little bit different than you might think.
all right,
Show and tell. Andre, go first.
we're doing show and tell right now.
Yeah.
Or are we doing props?
You can do whatever you want.
That's
The
right.
world
We're
is
doing
not
props and then
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
and then props.
Yeah. We'll throw
All right,
some
let's do,
parlays
I
in.
have a teaser here I want to share with you guys. Let me see which space. Four-team teaser, 6-point teaser. Bears plus 13.
Okay.
11 of their last 13 games last year, they were decided by 6 or less. So I like the plus 13. Playing a lot of close games. Raiders plus 7.5. I think they're going to win the game anyways. Give them 7.5 points. Packers, half a point. I'm liking them against the Jaguars to just beat the Jaguars. And Patriots plus 12.5. I think we discussed that already. Those 4 teams together, it's a plus 260 teaser. So
I like it.
it's a good deal.
Cool. For me, I'm going with just a straight parlay, money line, picking all of these teams to just win their game outright, not against the spread. Cincinnati minus 145, Kansas City minus 300, Houston minus 290, Green Bay minus 240, and Seattle minus 525. I like all of those teams to win outright. That's $50 to win 205. So I just think it's good value. I think all those teams win. I get it with Cincinnati. Maybe that's a little bit
Jets
of
are going to screw you over.
cause for concern. Yeah, but hey, if I'm going with Cincinnati for my lock, I might as well throw them in my parlay as well.
Which is my thing. I'm just going with the 3-team parlay against the spread, and I've got to take the lock because why would it be a lock if you're not going to add it into your situation yet? And then the 2 other games I like is one that Andre was on board with was Kansas City over San Diego. Kansas City 7-point favorites at home. Again, that stems from I just think that Philip Rivers, as you mentioned, doesn't have a lot around him. Kansas City defense can be good. Really like Kansas City this year. And then I also like Green Bay 4.5-point favorites over Jacksonville. And somebody that likes the Jags going into the season, I think they might even sneak into a playoff spot. But I think it's going to take some time for that defense to grow. And I just think that this is kind of a year that Aaron Rodgers comes out after what everybody kind of termed a down year, which I don't really understand.
He won't win the MVP because Derek Carr.
Well, then we know that going in. But yeah, I like them to open up with a win over the Jets.
Get that one in quick. I don't think that Green Bay line stays at 4.5 for the rest of the week.
I
I
agree.
think by Sunday morning that's up to closer to a touchdown. But, all right, now let's do show and tell.
All right.
I'm excited.
I want a fork and a knife.
Yeah, you did.
These type of utensils,
Not a knife.
swashbuckling utensils. Buccaneers used them a lot back in the day when they were pirates. And I think they will have some good falcon for dinner. That was your upset pick, Ricky. I'm pointing a knife at you. But that was your upset pick. I like it as well. I like them to win the division, so they'll have some good falcon for dinner. Falcons don't really have much of a pass rush. They had, 19 sacks last year, in the league worst. Give Winston time to throw and run. I like it.
Okay. Dude, I brought a koozie.
Not just any koozie.
It's actually an S and Fuel koozie. And the reason I brought the koozie is because I think that we already talked about Dak Prescott maybe having some struggles out of the gate. I think he might be a little ice cold, hence the koozie. I think the same could be said out in Philadelphia for Carson Wentz. So I'm going to pick the Browns to win outright over the Eagles in Week 1 because of some cold quarterback play.
I like it. I got to go underneath here.
There you go.
Oh, this is
Big doggy.
This is an umbrella.
Yeah.
I'm not going to open it inside because that's bad luck, and that's the last thing I want heading into Week 1. I'm taking this umbrella represents the New Orleans-Oakland game because I think it's going to be raining points. A little bit ironic, the game is inside. I'm picking an umbrella, but I think it's going to be raining points. I like the over 51 points. I think even if Oakland rolls in that game, let's go 35-17. We're just barely getting over, so I like the over in that game. So let's finish.
Love it.
Some bold predictions real quick. Andre,
From the same game, Raiders-Bucks, I like the Raiders to win by more than 3 touchdowns and Amari Cooper, 3 touchdowns and 200 yards.
Raiders-Saints.
What did I say?
Bucks.
Raiders-Saints.
Really confused for a second. But yes.
Raiders-Saints.
All right.
My bad.
Ricky.
I'm going to swing from the heels here because we didn't even know. At this point in time, as we're doing this, we don't even really know who the Vikings starting quarterback is going to be. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say Sean Hill will solidify himself as the Minnesota Vikings starting quarterback with a good game this weekend.
Wow.
That would be.
And this is you don't even know if he's playing.
I am done.
But at some point he's going to end
Pretty
up in
bold.
the football
That's bold.
game.
It's bold that you
solidified.
think that they're going to stick with the guy that instead of the guy they traded a first round pick for.
The guy
But
produces, he produces.
That's
and
true.
This is supposed to be bold, isn't it?
it's a show me. What have you done for me lately, league? So yeah. My bold kind of lame. I think Derek Carr leads the league in yards and passer rating after Week 1 because I think, like you and like I've said all show long, they will tear up the Saints defense. Anything else, guys?
So that means he's going to be the MVP front runner.
That's
he
now
will
you're
be.
talking.
Everybody's going on the
So you
Dukes
gotta get some
bandwagon
action.
right now.
You got to get some action.
Better
on
double
that.
down after, yeah.
I like where your head's at.
All right, so that
Gotta
went well enough, I guess. Let's get out of here. That was the Week 1 episode of The Spread, Destin.com football picks podcast thingamajig. I'm Mike Cole, that's Ricky Doyle, and that is Andre Khatchaturian. We'll be back next week. Make the picks. Okay. See you guys.